FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
I am to the right of Barack Obama, but I'm a personal, great admirer of his, and for many personal traits. But one of the things that you've seen, when you put psychology at the center of you, psychology changes. As context changes, there's a great concept called the fundamental attribution error, which is the mistake of attributing to a permanent character trait things which are actually the product of context. And so, for example, Obama has various traits, but they change as the context changes. So one of the traits I admire in him is a genuine niceness. Usually when I criticize a candidate or a politician or a president, the aides call me the next morning and they scream at me, David, you're a complete and total idiot. With the Obama people, they call you the next morning and they say, David, we really respect your work. We love you. You know how much we admire you. It's so sad you're a complete and total idiot. And so that niceness, I thought made you feel good. It was one of the nice things about the administration. But I would say over the last 3 months, as I've talked to people in the administration, they've begun to see a downside to that niceness. And that downside is there's no fear of the president within the government. And so I recently was talking to somebody, and he said, you'd be amazed how little the sentence, the president has already decided this, matters in a meeting. So the government just wants to go off their own way. The president's made the decision, but they're going to go off on their own way anyway. And another member of the administration told me, we know there's this culture of no drama, Obama, of niceness, so we know if there's a really problematic issue, we're going to try to not to bring it to the inner circle because they'll reject it, because they don't want the violence and the conflict. And so you've begun to see the administration, straight up to the president, begin to acknowledge that this trait, this niceness, which was so good in many circumstances, is not so good when the government is going off on its own and ignoring the president, which happens a lot. And so that's a psychological trait, and you begin to see him adjust and actually name a new chief of staff, Bill Daley, in part to take care of this problem. The second trait that he has, which has changed meaning, I think, over the last few months, is the trait of self-confidence. I'm convinced the word Obama will be the unit of measure for self-confidence in about 80 years. So we'll say, he has 80 Obamas, he has 120 Obamas. People in this job have a high degree of self-confidence, but Obama is sort of off the charts. And this, I think, negatively, especially in the first couple of years, caused him to think he could just control the country, and I thought it led him to misread the country. But I would say in the past 2 months especially, and as I've covered and watched him adjust to the electoral disaster he really suffered, in a very cool and calm way, he's shifted and adjusted and seen his own situation without a sense of self-pity or defensiveness, just analytic, because he knows he can change without fundamentally altering his faith in himself, which I believe is unshakable. And so that has been a good side to the self-confidence, which earlier appeared hubris, now to me it appears more as security.